Hi everyone and welcome back. This video is another video for those of you who are getting into web development. You're kind of like interested and want to know more. I had another video that I showcased the Netflix website. We looked at Google Chrome's dev tools to inspect the page, see what elements page is made of, and how you can style a page. We talked about those basics, and we also made some changes to the styling of the page. I put a link to that video in the description box below this one, and you can also find like a pop-up in the top right corner here. You can click on that and it will take you there. So definitely make sure to check that video. I think that was very exciting. And then this video, it's gonna be more hands-on, so we're gonna actually start writing code, HTML, CSS. Mainly it's gonna be basic stuff, but my final goal is we take it one step at a time, but I want to bring web development and data science together, and I know like JavaScript, which we'll talk about more later, has so many cool libraries that you can take advantage of and use those for data visualization. We're going to talk about front end, back end, how you can get data, how you can visualize them. So that's my final goal, but like I said, one step at a time. Right now we're just going to focus on basics of HTML and CSS, and I think that's good enough for like to get us started, and then we'll take it from there. So I'm very excited about this. I hope you are too. And I guess, yeah, without further ado, let's get started. So in order to be able to write our code, we need some kind of text editor like Notepad, Notepad++. Those are obviously options, but we want to be able to do more than just like type the code, and we want to use some extra features that an IDE or in an integrated development environment would offer. It's basically like a text editor with like a lot of other options, and the one that we are going to use is Visual Studio Code. There are many other options out there. There's Sublime Text and Atom and all other IDEs, but Visual Studio Code is free, and it's like available on both Mac and Windows. And if you go to their website, code.visualstudio.com, as you can see here, you can use this not just for web development but any other kind of programming. Like they have Python support and a lot of other stuff that you can use this for. So go ahead and download and install it. It will give you the option for your operating system. Right now I'm on Mac, so that's why you see it, but once you click on this drop down, you can see all the options. Make sure to download and install the stable version, and then once that's done, you can open the software. So let's go ahead and do that. I have it open here because I already had installed it, and that's what I've been using actually for any kind of programming for the last like 3-4 years now. So when you open it for the first time, there is gonna be like a get started or step-by-step guide, and you can go through that or just close out of it. Nothing really special there. The main things that you will see in the screen is probably like this empty space here, and then on the left you have this explorer icon, then search, then you probably have the source control and extensions here, and ignore the other ones that I have here. These are the main things that we're gonna talk about. Extensions tab, if you click on it, it's where you can install extensions that will help you with development. So as I said, IDEs are not just text editors. You can do much more. It's like there are extensions that can help you with development, make it faster for you. Autocomplete things is one of the very useful features that you get with an IDE, and I'll show you what that all means in a second. But what we're gonna do here, you can go ahead and create an empty folder where you want to have your the website related files in. So I have this webdev-basics folder that I have created on like a C drive or whatever you want to do, and it's just empty as you can see right now. What we're gonna do then is go to this explorer here, and let me make it a little bit bigger so you can see it. Okay, so you can click on the open folder here and then navigate to the folder that you just created. So I'm inside that new folder that I just created, and you can click open here. And once you do that, you will see on this explorer section here, now you have that folder open. So basically what's called your working directory is now going to be the folder that you just created. Now everything will be happening inside Visual Studio Code from now on. You can just close like your file explorer or a finder, whatever you had, and you can create files if like you need to, and create folders and other things right here from this IDE. So what we're gonna do actually right now is just click on this new file, and we are going to create our new HTML, our very first HTML file, which we're gonna name index.html. So this is kind of like a name that we normally use to name our main HTML or like main even JavaScript file. We can also have CSS file which we will use for styling the page, and I briefly talked about these in my previous video where we looked at the Netflix website, so go check that out if you haven't already, and you will see what like HTML or CSS are. And again, HTML is a file where you will have all your elements of the page in there, and we can just do a quick actually view over here. If we look at the Visual Studio website here, if I right click over here and do inspect, and you will see also this kind of Google Chrome's dev tool opens up. And by the way, I'm using Google Chrome, and I suggest you guys do the same, because we need to access to the dev tools and look different things there. Firefox is also a good option, but I would suggest you either stay with Chrome or Firefox, and my preference is for Chrome. So once you right click and click on inspect over there, it's gonna open like a new little window. It could be on the right side of the screen or on the left side. What you can do, you can click on these three dots over here, and I have this dock side to the bottom of the screen. You can do the same, so I can like show things to you. So this right here under the elements tab is all the different elements that we have, and this is our index.html file. And then we have also styling over here, which is gonna be what we will put in our CSS file, which is where we have our styling. So we can go back to Visual Studio Code, actually click a new file here, and we're gonna add a new file called style.css. So all these extensions are very important. Also make sure you do that. And with IDEs, in addition to like a text editor, you will get all these cool things that like your CSS file kind of shows you what it is. HTML file is an HTML5 file. So there are all these like cool options to separate to like visually see what these files are. And there you have it right there. A quick announcement before we get started writing code. I'm very excited to let you guys know that the Late Night Coders website is now ready. I've been working hard towards preparing this website and making sure everything is under one roof. The website is under latenightcoders.club. Make sure to go check it out. I have all my courses here right now. Only the Webflow Masterclass is here. It's a course where you can learn how to build website without any code. Webflow is a no-code platform, and it's really good. You will learn a lot of good things there, and I suggest if you are interested, go ahead and sign up for the course. There are multiple payment options as well. But the other thing that I'm very interested and very excited about is the community here. And you guys have multiple options to join the community. Either you can do just like a free plan or just supporter plan, where it also gives you access to all the courses that I have currently and I will have in the future. So if you're interested in that, you can do the supporter plan. But just to use the community, you can choose this general plan, which is gonna be for free always. And all you need is a email address, and then you will have access to the community. And once you enter your email and get into your account, this is what you will see. The community has different topics based on what you're interested in. You can like choose a topic. For example, for you guys, new developers, I would suggest definitely choose this topic, and then make sure to follow it. There is a get started post that I have here. It helps you set up your account and some rules about the community. It takes just 1 minute, so make sure to check that out as well. This is a place where I hope to bring everybody together. You guys can start to collaborating with each other. And if you have any questions, you can just like click on this new post and post your question about anything related to the topic that you are under here. And I'm always monitoring this like the whole community, so I'll make sure to get involved if needed. But this is more like a community where we all can like talk about different things and answer questions. It won't be only me, other developers would be helping you guys, so you will be helping others. It's just a community that we can all basically get together and make big things. There is also a chat option here. You can directly chat with me, and there are other ways you can reach out to me. So make sure to check it out, and let me know if you have any suggestions, if you have any questions, and I will make sure to get back to you guys as soon as possible. So yeah, I'm very excited about it. I hope you guys go check it out and also take advantage of all the opportunities that this website has to offer. All right, with that, let's get back to our code. And what I'm gonna do right now here is I'm gonna go back to index.html file, and again, another feature of an IDE is giving you the ability to autocomplete things. You don't have to type everything from scratch. So if I start typing HTML, you'll see a couple options here, and the autocomplete option, which is called in like Visual Studio Code, emit abbreviation. It allows you to like see the options, and if you click on this HTML5 here, so I'm just gonna click on it. It is going to give you an starter code here. I'm gonna close this like sidebar. You can click on the Explorer and it will close it so you can see what I have here. I can make it a little bigger. So this is what's called a boilerplate, and it's just like the bare bones of what you need to start to write your code. And for each HTML file, you will have like a head and a body, and that's like and what you also see over here, if I can go back to this Visual Studio website here, you have this head here, you have your HTML, you have your head, and then you have your body here. So there are like script tags here. We can talk about them later. There are like JavaScript stuff, but right now we can see like we have a head and body, and you will see that in any website that you go. The head section is a section where you define a lot of stuff that are related to SEO or search engine optimization. You'll have your title of the document, so I'll show you in a second what that is, and a lot of things like that. And in the body, you will have all your HTML elements. Like here, if you click on this little icon over here and hover over different parts of the page, you can basically see these are like all the elements. Like I have H1 here, which is right here, you can see, and that's an element inside my body tag here. And if obviously, like, you might not know what a tag is. Like, all these are called tags, like HTML tags. I have a head tag here, I have a meta tag here, title tag, body tag. So these are called like tags, and it's just like how they are called. So not important. I don't want to like add just a lot of jargon, and right now we're just like trying to make everything as simple as possible. So as I mentioned, there is this extensions tab here, and if you click on that, it's gonna give you this basically this side panel where you can search for different extensions. And as I mentioned before, extensions are tools that help you your development be faster and like more convenient. So what we're gonna do here is we're gonna install an extension called live server, and as you start typing it, it's gonna like suggest you. The first one is probably live server. You can click on it, and that's what we want. You have the option to install it. Right now I have already installed it, so go ahead and click on install, and it's just gonna take a few seconds. And once that's done, you should see this go live button down here. And this, what we just did, we installed an extension which will help us to see the changes that we make here live in the browser. Because like we write the code here and we need to see now how is it gonna look like. This is my HTML code, but what if, how can I see what it will look like in an actual website? So we need to actually open it as like an HTML website in like Google Chrome, for example, and see how it looks like. And we can do that just like by going to that folder and like double clicking on the HTML file. But then if we make changes, we have to go reload that page and all those things. This live server allows us to just type our code, and once we save, everything will be reflected on the page. So now go ahead and save this HTML file as it is right now, nothing else. We just like typed HTML and clicked on the HTML5 there. And once it's saved, you can click on go live, and it should open a new window in your browser. And you can see here that the servers start at port 5501, and you can close these. You can see the same here, port 5501, and you will see here you have your localhost, which is 127.0.0.1, and the port 5501, and then this index.html showing here. So what we see right now is all we have here. And if you were wondering what this title is, this is exactly what you see up here. So for example, for the Visual Studio Code, this is a title, and then for us, it's a document. And if I go ahead and just like change it to, let's say, web dev tutorial and save it, you can immediately see this page refresh, and now it's web dev tutorial. So that's how you assign your title here. Like I said, there is much more to this head section, but I don't want to get into all that. There's one more thing that we're going to talk about, and that's what this icon is. This icon here that you see in like this website or any other website, it's called I might be saying it right, but I say favicon, so you can like have fav icon or favicon, and that's what we can actually add in the head section, those like favicons, so that it will be shown instead of this default icon that you see here. And for that, there is this website called favicon.io. You can go ahead and basically navigate to there. In here, if you have a PNG file or text file or like even an emoji, you can change that to a favicon and then use that in your code. Just as a quick example, I'm going to show you how you can do that. So for example, I have a PNG file that I want to use it as my favicon. So I click on it. It's like an ad, you can close it. And here you can drag and drop your PNG file. Oops. So I have my PNG file added, and once this is added, you can just click on download, and what you will see is a zip file, and you can unzip it here, and you have this right here. If you look inside it, it has like multiple files in there. You have like favicon, different sizes, and you have Android and Apple icons. These are basically the icons that will be used if you're like visiting the website from your phone. The other ones are just for the computer and laptop. So if you scroll down in the website, it shows you how you can use them. Basically here, right here, it says copy the following link tags and paste them into the head of your HTML. Now we know what head is right here. So what we can do, like click on this copy, and then after this title, just hit enter, new line, and then paste the whole thing here. And in web development or any other languages, you probably want to make sure that everything is kind of like aligned and it looks good, so that it will be nice to like read your code easier. So for example, this head, we call this opening tag and closing tag, and for body we have the same opening and closing. These we want to make sure that they align. And in like HTML or CSS, for it doesn't matter like the number of spacing, but you want to make sure that it's consistent, and you can just do one tab, for example, and that's like aligns everything here, and just it's easier to read later on. And now I have copied everything over here, and here it is. I have my icons, but I also need to bring my icons over here to my folder. So what I will do is I'm gonna create a new folder here, right here, new folder. I'm gonna call it assets. And this is like where you put your images, your static files, like images, videos, or anything that you have. By the way, if you see this .vs code here, it's just fine. VS Code creates this file. You don't need to worry. This folder, you don't need to worry about it. It's nothing that you really need to like be concerned. Now inside this assets folder, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go grab my the folder that I just downloaded from this favicon converter. You can drag that file and drop it under the assets folder here, and you'll see it over here. I have this now here. If you right click on this favicon.io and then hit rename, you can rename it. So I'm gonna do favicon here, and then now it's renamed. You could have like done everything in your like Finder, or if you're on Windows and like the file explorer, just like copy everything from like here to your directory where you had it, instead of like doing everything over here in VS Code. You could have gone to the assets folder and then like just dragged it over here. It would have like showed up here immediately as well. You could have like changed it, renamed it over here. So it's all up to you. Since I said we're using IDE, you can do everything here. You don't need to really access to this folder over here and change file names or anything. You can right click and do that directly from here, like using rename or things like that. So now that we have our assets here in our favicon folder, we need to make a little change to the code that we have here, because right now if you look at it, it says my Apple Touch icon and like the favicon PNG files are directly under the same folder as my index.html file. And the way you know that is because you will have just one forward slash here. This is what's called the relative like path. So if you have only one forward slash here, or sometimes they don't even have this, that means whatever file that I have here is actually supposed to be under the same folder as my actual file, which is index.html. And we have to fix that because now our files are under assets favicon. And so again, don't worry about these like other things here for now. I have an href here, which is what I need, where my file is being referenced. And so here, if you start typing a slash and then you do assets, you'll see like an option here. It like suggests you like what you have here, like your folder. Kind of like auto completion as well. Another good thing with IDEs, you click on it and then you want to go to favicon, and this one was my Apple Touch icon. So now I have the correct directory. If I copy this whole thing here and add it over for the other files over here, we can also now make sure we have also made sure that everything is being referred to correctly. So we have everything under our assets favicon folder, and let me make it a little smaller, and then I'm going to bring back my other file here, my other window here. So this is where my port is running, and then look what happens when I save this right here. So I have my links for my favicons imported here, and I also have my folder ready here. So once I save it, and you'll see what changes here. If I command S save it, you'll see that now I have my favicon over here. So not only my title is changed, now I also have my icon, whatever icon you had, PNG, anything, you could have changed it using that favicon generator file website, and you would be able to easily bring it over here. So that's that, and that's all we're gonna talk about the head part. Now let's go down to the body section, which will include everything that you will actually see in this here. And by the way, when you're developing websites, always I suggest you have this inspect window open over here. When we start especially typing like JavaScript code, you always want to take a look at this console, because this is where you will see errors. Warnings are fine, these are warnings. Errors are gonna be like red errors, so you can see those things, but these warnings are not a big deal, and mostly they're related to, like here for example, it's DevTools, and that's a Chrome DevTool thing, so not really related to what we have here, probably coming from the live server extension that we installed. But inside Elements tab, you should be able to see whatever we added in the head section. So we have this title over here, and then I have my links for the favicons. And again, you can make changes over here as well. So if I double click on web dev tutorial, I can like type whatever I want, web, and then you should see this will change here. But that's not a permanent change because we didn't make that change in the code. So if I refresh right now, it's going to go back to what I had here. This element section here is good when you want to test stuff without having to change everything directly in the code. Sometimes, and a lot of times, it's easier to check and test the change here, and I'll show you how you can also change the styling of the elements here and then apply it in your code, so that you already tested it here and you just like bring the code over here. So going back to the body section of my index.html file, every element that we have, it's called a tag again. Like we can have like a paragraph tag, we can have like a heading tag, and I will put a link to this website over here, HTML elements reference, in the description box below this video, so you can go ahead and see all the tags that you can use. Most of them are here, and the most general tag that we use is the div tag. So right now you can actually go ahead and start typing like a text without any tag. So if I do that and then go back to my over here, let's start typing something. I'm gonna just type hello world, and then when I save it, you will automatically see that I have my hello world here. Now this is not the best way to do it, because it's gonna be possible, but kind of like I wouldn't say hard, but not a conventional way to do this thing. If you want to style this hello world, for example, and by styling I mean change the color, font, or like background or things like that, it's always good to at least have like a tag around it and then put this in there. So if for example this is supposed to be a heading, we have the h1 or h2, all the h tags here that we can use. And again, all those things are in this here website, you can check it out here. That's what I'm talking about. The h1 to h6 element represents 6 levels of section headings. So that's what we want to do here. So I have my title here, and all I need to do, like if you start typing h, you'll see options like h1 to h6 here, and the number, as the number increases, the font size and the boldness kind of like decreases. So h1 has the highest kind of like font size and boldness. So if I now type my hello world inside here and see the change over here, I will make it a little bigger also so we can see it better. If I save it, you see like it's immediately changed. And if I go down here in my body section, I have my hello world that you can see it's like kind of bold, and also you can see some styling already applied to it. If I click on this hello world on the right side, you will see, well, it could be some other site for you, but like you want to find the styles tab. If like you have it docked on the right side, it will be down here. So style here, I'm gonna go back to the bottom, and here you see like I already have some styles applied to it. So like for example, my font size is 2em, and these units, don't worry about it, we'll talk about them later. But we also have my font weight, which is bold. These are called different properties of like for styling, and we can change that over here in our style.css. For example, if I hover over this right now, you can see these orange kind of like space after and before this hello world, and that's as if you look at the little pop-up below the here where I have this h1 now is showing. You can see h1 with color and font and then margin. That's what's called margin. So there is a empty space, kind of like white space before and after this element. That's kind of like margin. As you can see, it's like 21.44 pixels there. And we can like start changing these styles for ourselves. And what we can do, go to our style.css file, and then we can target any elements that we want using the elements like name. For example, we're targeting h1 right now. Once we do that, you can open curly braces, and it's gonna add the closing curly bracket or brace automatically. And then you can like hit an enter in between, and then you can start adding styles here. So as you can see here, I have a font size, so let's target that. And another good benefit of having ID is that as I start typing, I get suggestions, and I can just click on it, font size, and I want it to be 22 pixel, for example. And this here, once you keep adding stuff, you need to keep in mind that you will need these semicolons at the end of each line. So right now, since we only have one line, it's fine, you don't need that. So I can save it, and then it's already reflected here. Or is it? No, it's not. So the reason is that I have this style CSS file over here, but I haven't told my index.html file to look for it. So the way we do it, we have to refer to that over here in our head section. And if I start typing link, you'll see a few link options. Since we are linking to our style file, which is a CSS, you will want to select this link CSS over here, which is gonna autocomplete everything. And by default, it will have style.css. So if you had named it something else, you would have needed to change it to like whatever, like index.css, for example. But by default, it will be referring to the style CSS file. So now if I make this smaller, I have my style over here ready, saved, and now I'm connecting my CSS file to HTML file. So let's go ahead and save it. And now you saw like there was a change, and that's the change in font size. So you can see that my font size is here now, 22 pixel. And that's from the style.css. It shows you what file it's coming from. The other one that was down here, now it's crossed off because now we have a style that I am applying myself, and it will override whatever styling that is by default. So all these tags have some by default styles, but if you want to override that, you can do it here. Now, if I want to add another property here, like font weight, First of all, you don't see it's being like it doesn't offer you any autocomplete option. So when that happens, there is a problem. And again, it comes back to the fact that you needed to have a semicolon at the end of this line. Now, if you start typing on second line, you should see some autocomplete options. So for example, font weight here. The font weights are like you can have 100 to 900 and then bold, bolder, lighter. You can play with these. If I do like 400 is normally like normal, and like 7, 800 are kind of bold, and 900 is kind of like bolder. So if I do that, it was like pretty similar to what we already had here, but you can see now it's 500, 900 here, and that bold is kind of crossed off. If I do like 400 here, you can see like it's a little bit thinner now. It's kind of like no more normal. But so that's how you add your index and style your HTML elements and then style it. Again, going back to what I said a few minutes ago, you can make changes in the browser itself first, and then see how it looks like, and then you can finalize it and bring it over here. But what I meant by that is that, for example, font size, you want to make sure you select the better font size. If you click on here, like inside this on the pixel number value here, and if you keep clicking, keep hitting the down or up arrows, you can make actually this font bigger and smaller, and you can see how it looks like in the browser up here. So like for example, hey, 39 is what I wanted, or 40. Okay, that looks good. With the font weight, you can't do like up and down. You need to actually go ahead and change it. For example, oh, let's try 700. Let's try 100. Or let's try like 500. So you can see the changes here. And then once it's good, okay, 40 pixel and 500 is what I want. So you can go ahead and change it here. So that's like the way you would normally do it. You don't want to like make changes here and then like right now with live server, it's immediately changing everything. But when you get into complicated coding stuff, the changes will take time to show in the browser, and so you don't want to do it that way. So let's save it now. Now if I refresh it, it's gonna be like what we had it before. Okay, now we're gonna explore with some other elements. For example, let's do a p tag here. P is a paragraph tag, so you can add like paragraph here. So once you type P and you hit enter, it's gonna add the opening and closing tag for you. Or alternatively, once you type P, just like click on this P over here, does the same thing. Or you could have started by actually typing the whole thing, like these like smaller P and then bigger than, and then it automatically adds the closing tag for you. Now with the IDE, you also get an option of adding some placeholder text, or what's called the lorem ipsum. You can Google it actually, like lorem ipsum, and this is just like a text placeholder kind of thing. Like it doesn't really mean anything. As you can see, it says it's some simple dummy text. For I guess it's better to call it dummy, not placeholder. Dummy text that you can add to your text, since you might not have the content ready at the beginning when you're developing a website. So as you start typing lorem, you will get an option, another autocomplete option here, and then you can click on it, and right there you were given like this text here. Okay, so that's good there. And then if you save it and go back, you can see that your text is added here. Boom, right there. So you have your text, you have your title, And now again, if you click on this thing here and hover over, you'll see that automatically there is a 16 pixel margin top here that you see, like the orange section that separates these two. And you can again go here, and then let's say for the p tag I want to have like a margin top of, you can, like, as you start typing you'll get the suggestion, click on it, of 0 pixels. I don't want to have any space here because already I have some space with the h1 tag up there. So if I save this one, now you will see that, let's see, this is gone away. So I have this orange space for this one here, and then when I hover over it, that was gone. Okay, now but I still have the margin bottom here, and you can target that also over here with margin bottom, and let's say I want 0 here. Okay, and now that will also be gone. So if I hover over, now you don't see the orange space bar below this one. Okay, so I'm gonna make it a little bit smaller so we can see things better here. There it is. So I have my heading here, and then I have my paragraph here. Now there are other elements that we can also add, and there's one more that I want to also show you guys for those of you who are interested in kind of like data science and things like that, which is the final goal of this tutorial series. I want to bring in like data in our web development. So there is this table option that you can always use, and table is a tag where you start with like typing table here, and then you'll have your table here. You can add this like an enter here, so you can add your stuff here. As you know, like for tables, we have like a header for table, and then we have our body, which will have our rows. And so for example, let me show you an example here. So like I have this header, this is like my column names, and then I have my rows with the data values over here. So what we want to do here is to basically add our head first. So that is as simple as typing t head. So I have my t head, which is my header, and again you make sure like you add tabs here to make sure it's kind of like the indentation makes sense. You have like table, it's like surrounding my t head, and then for the body we have t body. So t body here, and again you can space. And by the way, the like empty lines here, those are fine. It's a good practice to have enough empty lines so your code is easy to read, and you can actually add comments, and that's a good thing I forgot to mention. So here you, for example, you want to let the next person who looks at your code know what you're doing here. So what you can do inside inside any HTML or CSS or JavaScript file, you can hold the command or control key in Windows, command in Mac, and then hit the forward slash key. So that's gonna give you this comment area that you can actually start and type your comment. For example, the next few lines will include a table. Okay, just like this is like a very simple comment, but sometimes you need to get more into details and let like others know what you're trying to write here. So if you didn't get it, so I had command, or in Windows is control key, hold that, and then forward slash. That's gonna give you the option, or you could just like type it like let's go to a new line, less than dash dash, less than this exclamation mark dash dash, and then it will finish it for you automatically. So then you can add your comment here. Okay, and then going back to our table, in our head we want to have a row, just one row, which will have all our column header values. So for row we need to add tr. tr is a table row, and then hit enter. And then for this row here we want our column header, and the column headers are th. So here I know it's a lot of like levels here. It's because we are defining, this is gonna be my header, and my header is just one row of different column headers. So for the first one, for example, you can do for example county. Let's say you have like a data set of counties with population, income, things like that. The second one is gonna be population, and then you can like copy and paste it over here also, but you can also type th, and then over here you do median income, for example. Okay, so these are my column headers. Now inside my body, if I save it right now, let's see how it looks like. I just saved it, and you can see you have your column headers here. Now it's not really styled, so as we keep adding things we can also style it, but for now I'm going to add my body, like just one row for now. And again, when we are adding row, it's tr, so table row. And then here, instead of th that we had, because those were headers, now we want to add tds, which is the data or like cell items. So here, for example, I have I don't know, I'm in Indiana, so let's do Marion County, and then we'll do like, for example, another td here, because we want to make sure we have like 3 columns, so we need to have 3 cells which will each be for 1 column. So I have my counties, Marion, population, let's say, I have no clue, but let's say like 1 million. Oops, 1 million. And then for median income, again, I have no clue, but let's say is $54,000. And you can add the $1,000 here, or you can say dollars over here in the header. And then if I save it, now I have my header and my values here. Now there is not a good distinction here, and we'll get to that in a sec, but I just wanted to show you can add tables, and now you can like copy this one and paste it over here for like maybe other counties. Let's do like Hamilton here. We'll say like population is probably less. I would do like 500,000, and income is probably more, 70,000. And then we can do another one, Boone County, for example, 300,000, and median income, whatever. These are just like values, simple values. And then you see like the table is forming here, and you should be able to see that same thing happening in the body section here. So let me make this one a little over here. Okay, better. Now it's bigger, so you can see our table. I have our T head right over there. You can see it's getting highlighted, and T body over here. And we can style it as well, kind of like add some borders here to make it look different. But to do that, I'm gonna actually introduce a new very good thing that we get with like web development in similar to any other like programming language. Like if you've done Python, you know there are like libraries out there that will help you to add things. Just you add the library, and then you will get a lot of new things that you can use in your application without needing to like write everything from the scratch. And that's the same thing we can do with CSS as well. So there is this CSS framework, I would say, or like library called Bootstrap, and it's used like with everybody, like big companies globally, they use this. This is like a styling library that gives you very good default styling for different elements in your page, and you don't need to like really worry about, hey, my website that I just built, is it gonna be what we call responsive, meaning like it's gonna look good in a mobile small screen as good as it looks in like a giant laptop or desktop screen. Because like as I keep moving this smaller and smaller, kind of like you can see, it looks not too bad, it's fine. But like if as we keep adding elements here, we're gonna have to make sure everything responds well as we change the screen size, and that's very important. So Bootstrap gives us that as well. Not only some default styling, but also it takes care of responsiveness in the background as well. So what we're gonna do, if you go to the getbootstrap.com website and go to docs, there's a quick start here, and then there it will show you what you need to do to get this library in your website. So first step is to make sure we have the meta viewport here. All here, we already have this. That was part of the boilerplate that we had initially, so that's good. We don't need to worry about that. Second step is to get the link and a script tag for Bootstrap and put them in our code. So this link tag here, right here, you can select it and then copy it, and then you can add it. For now, let's add it here at the end. And then so we have this link tag here, and then for the script tag that we had here, this is important where you add it. It has to be at the end of your body area, so right before this closing body tag. And we'll talk about this later when we get into JavaScript. Okay, so now we have the Bootstrap thing here. And then let's go back to our website here. What I'm gonna do, if I save this page here, Command S, you'll automatically see some like changes happening. And that's because now with Bootstrap, I'm applying some predefined different default values to my CSS file. And now you might be wondering, if I hover over this here, so like this margin button for P, we got rid of it, didn't we? That's the thing I mentioned, where to add this Bootstrap. This has to be in the head section, but if you want your style sheet, your custom style sheet that you added to override the Bootstrap style sheet, you need to add it at the bottom, like below that. So if I Control X here and then add a new line here and Control V here, I can get rid of this line. Now it's gonna get the default values from Bootstrap, but then it's gonna look at my style CSS file, and if I have something that overwrites the default values, it's gonna put these values instead. So it is going to overwrite now because style is defined after Bootstrap, and since the browser reads your HTML file from top to bottom, it's gonna first look at Bootstrap, apply the styles, and then it's gonna look at this custom style and then apply the custom style that you guys added. So let's look at it here, save it. and you'll see now that margin at the bottom is gone, so you don't see that the orange white space there. So that's that. But the very helpful thing that you will get from Bootstrap is actually, again, pre-assigned kind of like default styling. If I go, for example, to the Bootstrap documents, and you can Google like tables and Bootstrap, and it will bring you here. If you add the simple class table to your table here, right here, so like table space class equal to table. And we'll talk again more about what classes are, but it's a way to target an element, like to style it or to give it like some kind of like JavaScript associated code, just to make sure it's only being assigned to that element. Because what we did here, like I have h1 and p, this is gonna get applied to all the h1s and all the p's that I have in this file. If I want to apply it only, like for example in this h1 here, I can do a class, and then I can say, hey, this is the hello world h1, and then over here we can target only that h1 by adding like dot hello world here. Okay, so this is the way to like target specific elements, and dot is basically telling the browser that it should look for a class, an element with that class name. So dot does that. You could have gotten rid of the h1 as well, because we only have one hello world class here, so that's okay. But don't worry about it for now. Let's undo this and then undo this one as well. Just the concept that we will talk more later about. But the class table that we add here, see what happens when I save it. We automatically get like a predefined styling, which is much better than what we already had. And you can see like there is more space here. We have like these border lines to kind of like separate different rows, and that all was possible by adding the Bootstrap like default CSS styling, and then applying this class to this table. It basically told the browser, hey, go look at this Bootstrap CSS, what's called CDN, and then if you see a class name of table, which is again like in CSS it would be .table, and it probably has some like margin bottom or like a border value here. You can see like there's a bottom border here, which is kind of like a little thick, and also it has like a color of kind of grayish. So go look there and find this class, and then apply all the styling to this specific table that I have assigned this class to. So you can see it right here. And if we hover over again, you can see like my table here. We have all these like Bootstrap table styling applied to them. We can look at the header. I have like a border color, border style is solid, width is 0. And again, you can change these here. Let's change this to 1, 2. I mean, that's 12. 2, and you can see like you have a border width here. It has to be pixels, so 1 pixel, and then I do like 3 pixels. You can see you can change that, and then you can bring it and apply it in this style.css file. For example, I can go over here and hey, I have like t-head here. I can do t-head, and this is not the best way to do it, but just for now I can do like a border width of 3 pixels here, and then that's gonna get applied to my since we defined the style sheet after the Bootstrap CDN here, Bootstrap style sheet here, this will override what we had in Bootstrap. Okay, so yeah, that's the main thing that I wanted to talk to you guys about in this video. I know it was like a little more than 1 hour, but make sure to like go back and also check out the Bootstrap documentation, this link that I have about different HTML elements. Keep adding here. You can add like I don't know, H2s. You can add, let's see what else we have here. You can add navigation sections, read what each of these do, and so many. Like you can add images, figures. You can have like unordered or ordered lists also. So this one also is a quick one. Let me show you. You can have an unordered list. It's UL. So if you type UL and enter, and then inside this you will have list items or LIs, LI here, and then I'm gonna do like item 1 for example here, and then we're just gonna copy and paste it. Item 1, item 3, item 5, and then if I save it, let's go back here. I'm gonna make this a little smaller so you can see. Now I have like an unordered list, and you can easily change it to an ordered list by changing U to O, so it will be ordered list, not 0O. And if you save it, it's gonna be 1, 2, 3. So again, some of these stylings come from Bootstrap, so if you didn't have Bootstrap, it might have looked different, so keep that in mind as well. Whenever you add a styling library like Bootstrap, it has some pre-defined styling for every single element that you might add to your website most of the time. So for example, if you look at this item 1, you can let's check out ordered list. So we have some like margin top, bottom, padding left, and like other stuff that's might be coming from Bootstrap, might be like the default. So you can just you can actually like remove Bootstrap here, and to remove something you can comment it out the same way we added comments here. So what I did was I hold the command key or control in Windows and then /. Now it's commented out. You can do the same for a script here, and then if I save it, let's see if our items change. I'm gonna save it, and there was like some changes, like the margin, like the white space over here change. Obviously our table changed. So if we command or control Z and bring this back and save it, you can see like the changes that the Bootstrap will apply to all elements in this page. Alrighty, so that was about it. Please, if you liked the video, make sure to like it. Don't forget about the Late Night Coders community. Go join that, and share this video if you like it, and make sure everybody knows that I'm doing this thing, because like I said, there are more things that I'm working towards, and I want you guys all to be able to take advantage of it. And that's it for today, and thank you all.